Uchiha, I suppose I must force an opportunity upon you. That's one down.
I can't let this happen.
Lord Danzo!
Get him. He couldn't have gone too far, after all.
Yes, sir!
I must have inhaled some of that gas. Ugh. Damn it.
This is it. Shisui Uchiha. Aim for the legs, not the face.
Right. Now.
I'm not finished yet.
What is that?
Captain!
Do it! What?
I thought that you were on a mission.
Something didn't feel right, so I came back.
Glad you did. Sorry for the trouble. The Foundation is involved. Unfortunately, it seems like there's no way to stop the Uchiha's coup. If internal warfare breaks out in the Leaf, the neighboring countries will invade, and war will begin. I was planning on using Kotoa Matsukami to stop the coup, but Danzo took my right eye. He didn't trust what I was trying to do, and he will resort to anything to protect the Hidden Leaf Village. They'll probably come after my left eye, too. Before that happens, I want you to have it.
Shisui.
You're really the only friend I can trust. Protect the village, and the Uchiha name as well.
But I...
And that isn't the only thing that I need to give you. I'm going to give you a new power, too. The Mangekyo Sharingan.
Shisui, you can't.
I'm not going to last long anyway. Take it as a gift. My dying wish. What's with that look of yours? Even like this, I can still see your face easily, you know. A worried expression just doesn't look good on you. You must always remain calm, my friend. That's what Itachi Uchiha is. I'm positive you can do this. So don't worry. It'll be fine.
I will carry on your the Uchiha.
From now on, you may be forced to walk down a long, dark path. One that's filled with pain and suffering. I have to apologize that I can't be with you through it all. Still, I hope you don't falter from your path and keep moving forward as a leaf ninja. I believe in you. That is why I'm able to ask you to carry my will. And the Mangekyo. Thank you for everything. I guess this is the end of the road for me, but this will pave a new way for you and give you new power. Well, Itachi, now the time has come. Make a new way for yourself with your own hands. You can do it. I know you can. See you, friend. I leave the rest to you.
Rest in peace, Shisui. I will carry on your will. I will move forward, believing in the path I choose for myself. That will lead to the future of the village. It will save my younger brother and the Uchiha. For that,
Itachi's Awakening. The night wind blew over the ruins of the former rain village. Drops of water fell rhythmically, mingling with the distant sound of thunder. This place, once the heart of Akatsuki, was now but a silent echo of the past. The broken statues of Nagato and Konin still guarded the central altar, where the inert body of Yahiko, the first pain, had lain for years, preserved as a bitter memory. But that night, something began to change. The ancient seals on the ground began to glow with a dark energy. The air distorted and chakra gathered in spirals, creating an almost unbearable pressure. The Edo Tensei symbol appeared on the altar's surface. A body began to materialize there, slowly emerging from the ash and dust. Was Itachi Uchiha. His eyes, once sealed in eternal rest, opened again, and for the first time, there was no pain. There was only awareness. The Uchiha slowly raised his head, taking a deep breath. So, the time has come. His voice echoed calmly but firmly, as if he had already expected this return. Beside him, the body of Yahiko Pain began to move, flesh regenerating, eyes opening with a deep purple glow. The Rinnegan pulsed with living energy. For a moment, Itachi just watched. Pain, or should I say Yahiko. So you were brought back too? Yahiko stared at him, confused. Itachi, that's impossible. I died a long time ago. Who could? It wasn't who, Itachi interrupted, his eyes glowing with the scarlet hue of the Sharingan. It was what? Fate must be corrected. The ground shook. All around, the ancient Edo Tensei chakra began to dissipate, but the two's energy remained. Something had intervened, a force beyond Kabuto's original technique. Itachi looked up at the sky where thick clouds swirled. Kabuto thought he freed me, but he never understood. From the moment I was resurrected, I realized something. The world was preparing for a new threat, something bigger than Madara. Bigger than Kaguya, Pain narrowed his eyes. The Otsutsuki? Itachi nodded slowly. Yes, I saw fragments of their presence when I touched Sasuke and Naruto's chakra. They are not of this world, but they have always been connected to it. And the truth is, we were just pieces on a much older board. Pain crossed his arms, his expression neutral. Then why were we brought back now? Itachi gave a small smile, the kind of calm smile that hit a mind 20 steps ahead. Because this world needs a guardian when the true protectors are no longer here. The rain stopped. For the first time in years, the sky over the rain village brightened. The reflection in Itachi's eyes showed the Rinnegan slowly emerging within the Sharingan. A perfect, impossible fusion. Rinnegan Uchiha, the result of the ultimate understanding between Nagato's sacrifice and Itachi's eye power. My redemption, he murmured, will not be through death. It will be through that which I have always feared, absolute power. Pain watched him silently, then gave a slight nod. So the real plan begins now, Itachi Uchiha. The distant sound of thunder resounded again, and the wind carried the words that would seal the fate of the new era. As long as there are shadows, there will be someone willing to walk within them. A Nova Akatsuki. The sound of rain fell again over the rain village, as if the sky had begun to breathe again after decades of silence. The drops hit the destroyed ground and ran down the wreckage of the former Akatsuki base, now shrouded in an ancient, almost spiritual chakra. In the center of the ruins, Itachi Uchiha remained motionless, observing the horizon. The black cloak with red clouds covered his body. His eyes, now with the Rinnegan and the Mangekyu coexisting, shone in mixed shades of purple and scarlet. Beside him, Yahiko Pain, reborn with his original body and the power of the six paths, looked around, absorbing the magnitude of the moment. This village still carries the pain we left behind, he murmured. Pain is the only inheritance the world never forgets, Itachi replied. With his usual calm, a flash of lightning lit up the sky, and for an instant, the Akatsuki symbol, the red cloud, shone amidst the rubble, as if the past were being called back to life. Pain crossed his arms. You said the Otsutsuki were coming, that Naruto and Sasuke wouldn't be here to face them. But how can you know that? Itachi stared into space for a few seconds before answering. Because when I was freed from Edo Tensei, I saw through Naruto's chakra. The power of the six paths inherited from Hagoromo was fading. And Sasuke? His ocular bloodline had reached the limit of temporal perception. Both were destined to disappear, not by death, but by transcendence. Pain lowered his gaze. So the world is without its two pillars. Not without hope, Itachi said. Hope is a flame that never dies. It only changes bearers. He stepped forward and placed his hand on his chest. My time as an assassin is over. Now I will use what remains of my soul to protect this world from that which once destroyed it, the pride of the gods. Pain looked at the Uchiha and smiled faintly, the first in years. You sound like Nagato used to. Maybe the cycle really is changing. In the shadows of the base, something started to move. From the ancient seals on the ground, shadows emerged, taking on human forms. They were artificial bodies, recreated from fragments of the ancient Akatsuki chakra. The figures began to awaken one by one, Itachi's puppets. But with the partial consciousness of their former members, Deidara opened his eyes, confused. What is this? Another disgusting summon? Itachi turned, his gaze steady. Deidara, you are no longer a weapon, you are a memory shaped into chakra to serve a purpose. The blonde laughed wryly. That sounds exactly like something I'd hate. But I admit it's better than being buried in ash. Logo, Kisame, Sasori, and even, the woman appeared in the mist. Pain knelt for a moment before Conan, his gaze filled with emotion. You are still here? She replied calmly. The rain never stops, Yahiko. I just became part of it. Silence spread through the cave. The old Akatsuki, though fragmented, was standing again. Itachi walked to the center of the hall and made a hand seal. Ancient symbols lit up around the ground, connecting in concentric circles. We are no longer an organization of destruction, he said. We are the shadow of redemption, the bridge between the living and the dead. From today on, we are reborn as something new. Pain raised his head. And what shall we call this rebirth? Itachi closed his eyes. The same name as the one who never fled the pain the world imposed, Akatsuki. But now its meaning will be different. Pain nodded slowly. The dawn that comes after the darkest night. As they spoke, a strange presence began to manifest itself above the clouds. A dimensional tear opened briefly, releasing icy energy. The air became dense. Pain reacted immediately, eyes narrowing. They arrived sooner than we expected. Itachi looked up at the sky. No, this is just an omen. The real ones are still watching from afar. The Rinnegan flashed for a moment, and Itachi saw a silhouette, a figure with long white hair and curved horns, smiling in the emptiness of space. An elderly Otsutsuki. He took a deep breath. Yahiko, gather the ancient paths. Deidara and Conan, reinforce the seal on this base. Allow nothing to enter, nor anything to leave without my permission. Pain nodded. And you? Where are you going? To where it all began, Itachi replied. Madara's tomb? There are answers there that have not yet been revealed. Pain narrowed his gaze. You still trust a ghost? No, Itachi said with a slight smile. But sometimes even ghosts know the way. The imaginary camera followed the Uchiha leaving the base. While the rain stopped and the sun began to rise timidly, the reflection of his silhouette in the puddles seemed to cast two shadows, his own and that of a crow. He muttered, "The true dawn begins in the shadows that remain." The seal of the Sage of Six Paths. The moon hung high in the sky when Itachi Uchiha reached the forgotten gorge where, centuries ago, the body of Madara Uchiha had been sealed. The wind cut through the valley like blades, carrying the echo of ancient wars. The ground was covered in battle scars, like scars etched into the earth, memories of the ambition that had nearly destroyed the world. Itachi walked slowly, the Akatsuki cloak rippling like a living shadow. His eyes, now an intertwining of Manjikyu, Sharingan, and Rinnegan, they captured every fragment of chakra in the air, every invisible whisper that time had forgotten. He stopped before the rock that guarded Madara's tomb. With his hands in a seal position, he murmured, "Rinbo." Hengoku, a circle of purple energy formed around him. The ground shook, and the ancient seals ignited. Ancient runes, some not even in the shinobi language, began to glow a deep blue. "You actually came all the way back here." The voice echoed from within the darkness. Itachi remained calm. "I knew your presence still tainted this place. Madara." From the shadows, a figure began to manifest, not completely physical, but as a projection of residual chakra. Madara Uchiha, in his spirit form, watched him with a half smile. "You always had eyes that saw too far, Itachi. But tell me, why did you, who hated war so much, come to the body of the one who tried to start the greatest of them all?" Itachi didn't respond immediately. He walked up to the seal, his eyes fixed on the central rune. "Because there's something you've hidden even from yourself," a seal left before your death. "A direct connection." To Hagoromo, Madara's face hardened. "You talk too much for someone who doesn't understand what power truly means." Itachi looked up. "Power without purpose is just noise. And you were the loudest sound in the void." Madara smiled almost proudly. "Ever the philosopher, and yet your hands are as stained as mine." "Perhaps," Itachi replied, "but I've learned that redemption isn't about erasing the past. It's about transforming it into a new choice." He knelt down and touched the seal with his palm. Immediately, an immense energy surged through the ground. The air around them seemed to distort, and a golden light enveloped the surroundings. From the center of the seal, a deep, almost divine voice echoed, "Itachi Uchiha, child of pain and reason, you have found the sage's seal." The light took shape. Hagoromo Otsutsuki appeared before him, or at least a spiritual projection of him. His wise eyes watched Itachi as if examining an entire soul in seconds. Itachi lowered his head in respect. "Great sage." Why was the seal hidden under Madara's body? Hagoromo closed his eyes for a moment. "Because Madara was the last human link capable of containing the seal I left. A seal that imprisoned something far older than any Uchiha or Senju." Itachi kept his gaze steady. "Older than Kaguya?" "Yes," replied the sage. "Before her, there were the primordial Otsutsuki. Entities that wandered between dimensions, absorbing entire worlds. Kaguya was merely the messenger, the rebellious servant. Their true ancestor remains sealed beneath this earth. The revelation echoed like thunder in the Uchiha's heart. So Madara wasn't the end. He was the seal, Hagoromo nodded. And that seal is weakening. Every time someone manipulates the Rinnegan's power, part of the prison opens. Naruto and Sasuke restored the balance, but now, without them, the cycle has broken again. The wind blew hard, kicking up dust and energy. Itachi closed his eyes, feeling the weight of responsibility fall on his shoulders. So that's why I came back, to contain what's coming. The spirit of the sage observed him in silence, then spoke calmly. You, Itachi, are the convergence of two forces, the wisdom that came from pain and the power that came from acceptance. Your gaze has pierced the darkness, and that is why I will grant you something that not even the 6 paths have fully possessed. Light enveloped Itachi's body. His eyes shone. The Rinnegan and Sharingan had completely merged, revealing a new form, a scarlet Rinnegan with silver rings, pulsating like a living star. The Eye of Dawn, said Hagoromo. The fusion of love and logic. The power to awaken harmony between worlds. Itachi took a deep breath, feeling the divine chakra flow within him. And what is the price? The sage smiled slightly. No power is without a price. Yours will be solitude, for few will understand what it is to carry the power of a god without wishing to be one. The vision began to fade, and Madara watched everything with a wry smile. It seems you have become what I always wanted to be. Itachi turned to him. No, Madara. I became what you could have been, if you had chosen love over ambition. Madara's spirit vanished, finally at peace, and the seal on the ground re-established itself, now strengthened by Itachi's energy. The Uchiha looked up at the sky, the wind ruffling his black hair and red cloak. The gods will return, but this time, I will be here to welcome them. The awakening of the primordials. Thunder split the sky with a deafening roar, echoing for miles. Rain fell heavily on the shattered ground of the Rain Village. The new Akatsuki base, rebuilt on the ruins of the old one, vibrated with energy. The seal Itachi had reinforced trembled as if the world itself was breathing heavily. Itachi Uchiha. He emerged from the curtains of rain, his black cloak clinging to his body. His footsteps were silent, but every drop that touched the ground seemed to freeze around him. The Uchiha's eyes, the Eye of Dawn, glowed in mixed shades of red and silver, rotating slowly like galaxies. Yahiko Pain was the first to approach. You took your time. The seal's energy began reacting hours ago. There's something huge moving beneath the earth. Itachi didn't respond immediately. He looked up at the sky, and an expression of absolute calm came over his face. They woke up. Silence fell over the hall. Deidara, sitting on a pile of rubble, frowned. Who are they? If it's another god, I'm warning you, I'm out. Conan, her gaze firm, took a step forward. Itachi, what did you see? The Uchiha closed his eyes, and for an instant everyone felt the weight of what he carried. Before Kaguya, before even Hagoromo, there were the first ones. The primordial Otsutsuki entities who fed entire worlds with their own chakra. The seal I found beneath Madara's tomb kept them dormant. But the balance has been broken, and now they are returning to reclaim what they consider rightfully theirs. Yahiko clenched his fists. Then Earth is the next feast, Itachi nodded. And we are the only line between them and the void. The walls of the base began to vibrate. Kabuto, now part of the new Akatsuki as a science advisor, hurried in. Sensors have detected dimensional distortions in various regions of the globe. Space is fragmenting. Fragmenting? Conan asked. Yes, Kabuto said, adjusting his glasses. They're making their own way here. They're not being summoned, they're crossing realities. Itachi looked at Pain. How many bodies can you control? All 6, the former rain god replied. But I don't know if that will be enough. It won't be, Itachi said calmly. But enough isn't what we need. We need the inevitable. Pain looked at him in confusion. And what would that be? Itachi turned, walking to the center of the hall. The sacrifice. The ground exploded with energy. A gigantic circle of golden chakra expanded around the base. trembling as if time itself were shattering. In the sky, portals began to open. From these cracks, immense silhouettes began to appear, floating bodies wrapped in white cloaks, with multiple eyes and twisted horns. The air became heavy. It was difficult to even breathe. Conan looked up, horrified. They are countless. One of the Otsutsuki giants slowly descended, his voice reverberating throughout the atmosphere. Finally, the cycle is over. The era of humans has come to an end. The ground cracked beneath his feet. His chakra was so dense that it warped the space around him. Pain raised his hands, activating the 6 paths. Chiba Tensei. 6 black spheres floated around him and rose into the sky, exploding in pure gravity. Entire mountains rose up, pieces of the earth joining together to form a colossal prison around the Otsutsuki. But before the seal was complete, the creature raised a hand. With one gesture, he undid everything. Gravity just disappeared. The 6 paths were thrown to the ground, destroying part of the base. Daidara shouted, "This is hell! How do you fight something that even space can't hold?" Itachi stepped forward, the eye of dawn pulsing. Their power comes from absolute purity. Ours, from imperfection. With a single seal, he expanded his aura. The silver chakra mixed with the red energy of the Sharingan and the blue light of nature. Within seconds, Itachi was surrounded by a colossal form, a fusion between Susanoo and Kurama, forged from the balance between life and hate. Pain watched, surprised. "You combined human and divine chakra." Itachi looked at him, his eyes serene. "I've learned that the power of gods only destroys, but the power of men builds and reborns." He raised his hand and the Susanoo Kurama roared, launching a direct blow at the first of the Otsutsuki. The impact opened the sky. The sound echoed as if the universe had shattered. Kabuto shouted commands, coordinating the remaining clones. Conan used her paper wings reinforced with iron chakra, dodging the enemy attacks. Pain and Itachi fought side by side, 2 ghosts, 2 mortal gods, holding the fate of the world in their hands. But every blow cost something. Itachi began to feel the weight. The divine chakra Hagoromo had given him was draining his soul. Yahiko noticed him. "Itachi, stop, it's going to kill you." "I've already died once," the Uchiha said with a slight smile. "Now, I'm just fixing the ending." The larger Otsutsuki roared, spreading his arms. "You fight the inevitable. I am the beginning and the end." Itachi looked up. The scarlet Rinnegan burning like fire. "Then let the end begin with me." His chakra exploded. Susanoo Kurama grew until it touched the clouds. Itachi concentrated all his power into his fist. "Divine Amaterasu!" The explosion lit up the entire world. Black and silver fire consumed the creature, cutting the sky in 2 halves. For a moment, silence, but Itachi fell to his knees. His body began to disintegrate into particles of light. Pain ran to him. "No, Itachi!" The Uchiha smiled calmly. "Don't cry, Yahiko. True dawn never depends on those who see it rise, but on those who make it possible." And then, Itachi fell apart, but the sky shone. The seal, once broken, now stood again, strengthened by the sacrifice. The remaining Otsutsuki retreated into the dimensional void, weakened. The rain stopped, and for the first time in decades, a ray of sunshine broke through the clouds of the rain village. Yahiko remained silent, looking at the horizon. Conan landed beside him, her wings slowly dissolving into paper. "What shall we do now?" "Pain closed his eyes, now!" "We honor him, and we guard the dawn he left us." The imaginary camera pulled back, showing the redesigned Akatsuki symbol, no longer blood red, but gold, shining in the sunlight. At the top of the scene, Itachi's final whisper echoed, "As long as there are shadows, there will be someone willing to walk within them." The light of dawn spread slowly across the land. The dense clouds that covered the rain village dissipated for the first time in decades. The Rio, sound of water falling from rooftops, was replaced by something rare and forgotten, the distant song of birds. The world had changed. The primordial Otsutsuki War had ended 3 years. Humanity survived. But the price was Itachi Uchiha. The wind blew gently through the partially rebuilt streets of the village. There, at the top of the old Akatsuki Tower. Yahiko Pain remained silent, watching the horizon. By your side. The woman folded small pieces of paper that fluttered in the wind, each bearing the golden cloud symbol of the new Akatsuki. Time has passed, Conan said, her voice calm. Yes, Yahiko replied. But the weight never goes away. It's funny. When I was alive, I wanted to change the world through pain. Now I only want to protect it through the sacrifice of one man. Conan looked up at the sky, her eyes filled with tears. His name still echoes throughout the villages. People call him the Uchiha of the Dawn. Yahiko smiled slightly. It's fair. He was the first to see light in the darkness. The tower doors opened. Kabuto, now older and calmer, walked slowly with a cane. Time had also left its mark on him. Pain. Conan. The latest report has arrived. The world is unifying. Villages have stopped fighting over territory. For the first time in centuries, there are no open wars. Pain crossed his arms. True peace doesn't exist, but enough peace, perhaps. Kabuto smiled faintly. Perhaps enough is enough. After all, even the gods were defeated by someone who only wanted redemption. Conan approached and handed him a small scroll. Is the monument ready? Yes, said Kabuto. In the ancient Valley of the End. The very place where Hashirama and Madara faced off. Now it will be the place where Itachi's sacrifice will be remembered. Pain looked at her and murmured, Let's go then. It's time to fulfill his last promise. The Dawn Monument. The sun was setting over the valley. The rivers shone with golden hues, and the wind carried red petals of fire flowers. In the center of the valley stood a colossal statue, half carved from stone, half forged from chakra. The serene face of Itachi Uchiha looked at the horizon, his eyes half open in a peaceful smile. Around it, engraved in all shinobi languages, a single verse. Even in the shadows, he chose to be the dawn. Ninjas from various villages were gathered, former enemies now side by side, elders of leaf, sand, mist, stone, and cloud. In the center, Yahiko, Conan, and Kabuto knelt before the statue. Yahiko spoke in a loud voice that echoed through the valley. The man who saved us didn't believe in titles nor in gods. He believed only that power should serve life, not the other way around. He was called a murderer, a traitor, a hero, and a god. But above all, he was human. Silence took over the place. The flags of the 5 nations fluttered in the wind. Conan closed her eyes. He believed that each of us had a role in the balance of the world. That true power isn't about winning. It's about understanding. Kabuto took a deep breath, and he understood. Maybe more than anyone. Suddenly, a gust of wind blew between everyone. Folded papers, the same ones as Conan's, began to rise into the air, glowing with silver light. They formed a luminous spiral in front of the statue, and there, for an instant, Itachi's silhouette appeared, made of chakra and wind, calm, serene, smiling. Everyone was silent. Yahiko looked up, his eyes welling up. You really never rested, did you? The image responded in a soft voice, almost like a memory. Peace is not the end. It is the way, as long as there are hearts willing to change. The dawn will never cease to rise. The light dissipated, and the valley was once again filled with the sound of wind and rivers, but nobody said anything. Everyone knew what they had seen, and they felt, in that moment, that Itachi's legacy would live on as long as there was life to remember. In the after, a boy walked through the reconstructed streets of Aldea de Fola. He had black hair and curious eyes. He stopped, in front of a small miniature statue of Itachi. Beside her, a sign read, "He who fought the gods so the world could dream again." The boy looked at the statue and smiled. Father, who was he? His father, a young shinobi in simple robes, responded respectfully. He was the man who taught us all that, even in the shadows. Light can be born. The boy remained silent, looking at the sky, where the sun was beginning to rise behind the mountains, and he murmured softly, "So, I want to be like him." The wind blew lightly, and for an instant, a crow feather fluttered before his eyes. He smiled. And so ended the story of a man who never wanted to be remembered, but who became what everyone wanted to be, the light that shone in the darkness.